Well, I cannot talk about an April calendar until I talk to you about March. This March was unlike anything I've ever seen before. We started out this year crazy. You know, in the phrase is if your bees are boiling over in March, well, then congratulations, you're already late. And every hive I went into, I was looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 8 to 10 frames of bees. Whew. I was just a little freaked out. We started out the month warm. Well, we ended February kind of warm, and then March it went kaboom, and it was, wow, this is crazy early, and it was early. I mean, things are popping like crazy. We're seeing the purple dead nettle was coming out about 2 weeks in front of what it normally does. Daffodils were up and out, and the red buds were going kaboom, and the red maples were in full bloom by about the 1st of March. That's just crazy, crazy early for us. And then, just for the fun of it, about 10 days into March, somewhere in that neighborhood, the temperature dropped. And when I say dropped, it dropped like crazy. We ended up getting down into the, roughly 14 degrees. And then one day it never got above 22. So I'm looking at a spring flow starting like none other, and then everything got frozen. At least I thought it got frozen. Everything seemed dead. We came out of it and everything was not dead. It did set everything back maybe about 4 or 5 days, but now it's the 24th of March and the flow is on. and I'm shocked. So everything I would normally do the first part of April or even like into the second week of April, I'm doing now. So this year is very different. You need to understand that if you're watching this video in 2027 or beyond, this is 2026. So this year is an anomaly, but I have to do things very, very different because but Mother Nature is so far ahead of the game that we have to be able to make that adjustment. Because if you're waiting for April to tell you what to do in the calendar, you're too late. Your bees are going to be in the trees. I was just thinking I better check the trees and make sure the bees aren't up in them. But we're getting that close. So we're ahead of the game, but I wanted to talk to you about what the difference is this year. So let's talk more about the calendar and we'll head back inside. Although it is a beautiful day outside, but we're gonna head back inside. I can show you the calendar and really talk about what I have to do for the next month. And it's pretty one-sided. Anyway, let's walk up to the house and we'll talk about it. So this April really won't be a whole lot different than every other April. It's just I'm going to be about 2 weeks in front of everything. And since things are a little bit compressed, we're going to have some issues with things blooming out of sync because of the freeze. You've just gotta have to be on it. I mean, really, really on it this year. So again, it's gonna be in April like every other April, just kind of a little bit ahead. And it is all going to be about maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. So hey, check this out. Aren't they cool? We didn't think we were gonna get any this year. Well, we got some, but they obviously froze. So when I say maintenance, I'm really talking about the fact that, you know, if my bees end up in the trees and not in the hives, then I'm losing massive amounts of honey production. And if I'm losing honey production, then I'm in trouble. So check out the red buds. We weren't supposed to really be getting these. We thought it was all going to freeze, but they are just about to pop. And that is exciting because we didn't think we were gonna get red bud this year, and we are. Anyway, so we're gonna head inside and talk about what am I gonna do? Let's go. So April is all about being proactive. If you're reactive, it's too late. Your bees are gonna be in the trees. That's just kind of the bottom line to it. And the more proactive you are, the more you're on it, the more you're going to have honey production, if that's hopefully what you're looking for. Talked outside a few minutes ago about March was kind of crazy. I'm still at the end of March, so I've got some things I need to basically, what's with me in this slipper? There we go. there's some things that I need to still take care of. This week will be, again, being proactive. I have supers on almost all of my hives. I put my first supers on March the 8th, which is, again, crazy. That's easily 2 weeks before. But I'm at 10 frames. What am I going to do? I need to do something because the bees are busting and they got to have space. So every box that was at 8 or 10 frames all got a super on it. I have 12 hives out at the farm right now. All 12 got supers. I got 7 here at my house. I just saw those down there. They're all got supers, and it's just crazy. And those are single deeps. Today I was out at the garden club where I manage those hives out there. They're double deeps, and they were busting. And when I say busting, easily 10 frames. So they all got supers. I felt like Oprah, you get a super, now you get a super, now you get a super. So everybody got a super. But that's the first step for me for my April, is because I start doing a Demaree. Or is it Demaree? Demaree? Demaree. 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 I'm going to go Demaree. That feels best. Shari will point that out to me, I'm sure. Won't you, Shari? Thanks. So on all of my hives, I use the Demaree method of swarm prevention. And I'll have a video out on that in a couple weeks. But the basic premise of that is that I manipulate the hive, bottom box where all the brood is at, find the queen. I put the queen on a frame of almost all, if not all, capped brood, and I take every other frame that has brood on it and I put them in a box above. The queen stays in the bottom box on a frame of capped brood. I then take all of the other brood, pull them out, and put them in another deep box. On top of the brood box where the queen goes an excluder. I've already got that one honey super on. It's getting filled up. I'll put another honey super on, and then I put the brood box that has all the brood and all the nurse bees on it at the top. Down below with the queen, I put empty drawn frames. So she's got plenty of room to lay. And then I'll fill those in with just blank framed with foundation, and the process is a constant one of monitor, 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 and then manipulate, manipulate, manipulate. So let's talk about that. So right now, I'm in the last week of March. I am inspecting hives. I am starting Demaree on any hive that's really, it's like my most busting hives. I'm going to start Demareeing on those. So that's this week through the end of that week. And this is a really everyday thing. I will be out every day doing Demaree that I can, that the weather is applicable. So what do I do the second week? And I know my handwriting is awful. So here is a graphic for you that I did that hopefully will show you what we're doing. So first week, as I showed before, final week of March is the swarm risk. I'm monitoring for that, starting the Demaree. First full week of April, I'm checking for queen cells in those that I Demareed already. I'm actually putting on additional supers if the flow is going crazy. And I am finishing up any Demarees that did not happen. But I'm checking those first Demarees for any queen cells. Wait a minute, let me go back so I can explain that. If you take all the brood and you move it up top with the nurse bees, and you've got 2 supers in between and a queen down below, up top they're not going to get the strong scent of the queen and the pheromone. They're going to think, uh-oh, we have no queen. They'll start making supersedure cells. You have to find every single one of those supersedure cells, because if you don't, well, you've just defeated your purpose, and now you've basically done a split and you've got 2 queens, and it's a mess, and your hive is going to be just as strong as it was if it had gone into the trees. So that's why it's monitor, monitor, monitor. Let me go backwards though and talk also on that first go through the box where you're pulling the queen out. You have to find every single swarm cell, if there are any. And if you miss a swarm cell, same thing. They're going to end up swarming, or you're going to end up with 2 queens. Anyway, it defeats the whole purpose. This is a method that is labor intensive, but what you need to know is that when it works, I end up with a busting hive that is a honey producer. So I haven't lost half my bees to the trees. They are just crazy strong honey producers. So that's why I do this method. Okay, so that's week 1. Week 2, you go back in. Again, you'd be looking for supersedure cells. There won't be swarm cells below because there aren't enough bees. You're looking for supersedure cells in that top box. and you're monitoring honey backflow. Are your supers full? And if they're full, throw another super on, because they start to become really honey producing machines at this point. So that's week 2. So you're basically stabilizing everything, and as long as you stay on top of it, then the bees will just keep doing and thinking that, oh, we've already swarmed, we should be fine. Week 3, again, you're going to expand. You take the brood, you check, make sure the brood space below is good, and this is where you start to manipulate and equalize. And this is the beauty of the Demaree, is that up top and down at the bottom, you can have new comb being drawn. So this is also how I get rid of the old black comb that's got God knows what in it, because they've used it over and over and over and over. And you know, you really don't want to use comb for that many years. You know, I try to pull everything out after about 3, sometimes 4 years, usually not even that long, because I mean, they're bringing gunk in. After a while, those frames and that wax gets filled with whatever they're bringing in. Healthier bees are better on newer wax. So this gives me an opportunity to also have that happen, is to build out those new frames. So in that third week, in that third week, I am doing that. I'm taking empty frames from up top that have all hatched out, and I'm putting back on the bottom. The queen will fill those up, and I'm taking anything that is filled by the queen down here, and I'm moving it up. Just keep that process going until everything starts to equalize. And when it does, pretty soon the bees get into a mode that you don't have to really worry about them swarming anymore or making queen supersede your cells up top. Week 4, it's full-on honey flow in this area here. So this is a great time then. I will start then at the end of April, combining things back down to get back to a single deep. And it's a matter of pulling out the good resources. You've got to be careful. You've got to keep frames in order down below where the brood is at, because you don't want to mess all that up anyway. We're going to get into that when we talk about the Demaree method, and I show you that process. But if you can't tell, April is just an on month. If you want to have a great year for honey production, or just to keep your hives happy and healthy, April is the time to do it. Are there other tasks I'll throw in there? Yes, I'm monitoring for mites. I will do that real quick before. I'm anticipating that mite counts are very, very low, because they were very, very low going into, actually pretty much non-existent, my last check of last year. So I would expect that there really wouldn't be a mite buildup at this time. Once I put everything back together, I will start to use Viroxan and put strips in just to keep my levels low. But that's a May thing, and we'll talk about that when we get there. So that's what we've got. It's full on, and if you're prepared for it and you're ready for it, you'll have a great year. As I said before, if you are reactive and not proactive, you're gonna get bees in the trees. Gotta be on it, gotta be on it, gotta be on it. God, I hope I'm on it. I'm on it. Am I on it? I'm pretty sure I am. Anyway, so that's what you got for April. That's where we're at. I will be excited to talk to you in May about how things all ended up. Do I expect every single hive to be a perfect Demaree? I don't. It's realistic, it's not. I'm doing it over 20 hives, so you know, I'm going to have some flaws in there. As long as I get a vast majority of them to work, then I'm in great shape. Anyway, so that's where we're at. I will be excited to show you how things came out in May. Until then, as always, it's nice to be liked, and if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. Appreciate that very much, and as always, happy beekeeping. Look forward to seeing you next time.